My name is Amelia. I'm 35, and today I buried my husband, James, overseas. After traveling for 30 sleepless hours to get back home, I sent a message to our family group chat. Flight lands at 5 p.m. Can someone pick me up? My brother, Troy, answered, "We are busy, try Uber." Then my mother added, "Why didn't you plan better?" My fingers shook as I typed, "No worries." Inside, I was breaking apart. I didn't know then that only a few hours later, my family would be sitting in their living rooms watching my tragedy on the evening news. Before grief turned my life inside out, I had what most people would call a perfect life. James and I met in college during sophomore year when he spilled coffee all over my economics textbook. He insisted on buying me a new one, which somehow turned into a dinner date. We married after graduation and built our life together in Portland. I became a marketing director, and James thrived as a software engineer. We had a cozy 2-story house with a garden I tended each spring. James always teased me that my tomatoes could win prizes at the state fair. 10 years of marriage felt like one long, beautiful dream. We traveled whenever we could, played board games with friends every Thursday, and saved for our future. We were even talking about starting a family. The spare bedroom had been turned into a home office, but we both knew it could easily become a nursery one day. Everything shifted last fall when James was offered a 6-month contract with an international tech company in Singapore. It was the kind of opportunity that could change his career forever. I arranged to work remotely for 3 months so I could spend part of that time overseas with him. We were thrilled about the adventure ahead. The night before his flight, we had a quiet dinner at home. I still remember the music playing, the candlelight, and the way he held my hand as he promised this chance would make our future brighter. 6 months will fly by, he said softly, then we'll start the next chapter. For the first 2 months, we video called every day. I even visited him for 3 weeks over the holidays, and it felt like a second honeymoon. Singapore was vibrant and alive, and James loved showing me around. We started seriously talking about trying for a baby once his contract ended. But then came the call that broke my world apart. Back in Portland, during our morning video chat, James complained of a terrible headache. "Probably just stress," he said, rubbing his temples. "Big project deadline coming up." 8 hours later, one of his coworkers called me from James's phone. My husband had collapsed in a meeting and been rushed to the hospital. I got on the first flight I could, but 26 hours later, when I arrived, James was already in a coma. Brain aneurysm, the doctors explained. They had tried emergency surgery, but the damage was too great. For 5 days, I stayed by his side in that foreign hospital, holding his hand, talking to him, begging him to come back to me, but James never woke up. He was only 37 years old. Handling everything alone in another country was overwhelming. The hospital paperwork was endless and confusing. Most conversations had to pass through translation apps or rushed interpreters. I called my family every day, hoping for comfort. Instead, the talks were short. "We're praying for you," they would say before hurrying off the phone. My mother asked if I had thought to buy travel insurance. My brother suggested hiring a local service so I could come home sooner. But I couldn't leave James, not like that, not in a place where the only people who knew him were coworkers. A plumbing company offered to fix my pipes for free. A restoration service volunteered to handle the water damage. A hotel chain gave me a 2-week stay while repairs were done. The kindness was overwhelming, far more than I ever expected. That same night, the 10 o'clock news aired footage of emergency vehicles outside my house. Along with it came the broadcast of my family's private conversation. The nurse on duty later told me how my brother Troy stormed into my hospital room, pale and shaken. "We just saw the news," he stammered. "They're making it sound like we abandoned you." My mother walked in behind him, already defensive. "This is a misrepresentation," she insisted to the nurse, not even looking at me. "We didn't know the house was in that condition. Of course we would have helped if Amelia had told us." My father lingered near the door, saying nothing. Only when the nurse stepped out did he approach me. He leaned down and asked softly, "Are you going to be okay?" It was the first genuine question any of them had asked me since James died. Minutes later, my phone lit up with call after call. Extended family and friends had seen the news report. My Aunt Susan phoned my mother, demanding to know why no one had met me at the airport. My father's boss texted to offer help. For once, my family's carefully polished image of loyalty and support was unraveling. As I drifted in and out of sleep, I could hear them arguing in the hallway. Troy pushed for a plan to protect his reputation. My mother worried about what her bridge club would say. My father suggested moving me into their house after discharge to prove they were supportive. Not once did I hear true concern for me. Their focus was only on appearances and damage control. When the hospital social worker arrived to discuss discharge, she brought better news. A local grief support group had offered counseling. A meal service was donating 2 weeks of prepared food. Neighbors had volunteered to help with chores during recovery. You have options, she told me gently. You don't have to go with your family if that isn't what you want. It was the first time anyone reminded me that I had a choice, that blood ties didn't obligate me to accept help laced with guilt and self-interest. Later, as my family stayed overnight in shifts, they played their roles perfectly for hospital staff. Troy sat glued to his phone, clearly managing his public image. My mother fussed with items on the table, muttering about how this has been blown out of proportion. My father stood by the window, sighing and checking his watch. When Dr. Reynolds came in to review my case, my mother transformed instantly. She softened her voice, squeezed my hand, and announced, "We're just so thankful she's all right. Of course she'll be coming home with us. Our family always sticks together." The doctor looked at me instead of her. "Mrs. Henderson has been through severe trauma, physical and emotional. She needs rest, good nutrition, warmth, and a stress-free environment. Amelia, what support system do you have in place?" Before I could respond, Troy jumped in. "She has us. The media exaggerated a misunderstanding. We'll handle everything." Dr. Reynolds remained calm. "She cannot be alone for at least 48 hours. Will someone be with her the entire time?" "Of course," my mother replied smoothly. "We've prepared the guest room. I'll rearrange my schedule." Just then, Jessica, the nurse who had been with me all morning, came in with my breakfast. She had seen how different my family acted whenever staff entered. As she checked my vitals, she asked quietly, "Amelia, are you comfortable with this plan? Because you do have alternatives." My mother stiffened. "Alternatives? She belongs with her family." Jessica ignored her and looked at me directly. "It's your choice." Something shifted inside me. For the first time, I felt the weight of that truth. The choice was mine, not theirs, not what made them look good. I took a steady breath. "I'd like to hear the alternatives," I said firmly. The room went silent. Troy froze mid-text. My mother's mouth opened, then closed. My father turned from the window with a frown. "Amelia," my mother finally said, her voice sharp with disbelief, "you cannot be serious, after everything we've done." The words slipped out before I could stop them. "And what exactly have you done?" Once spoken, I didn't want to take them back.